Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're fresh off 300 and the excitement from that. So we're going to get back to the bread and butter of the channel and talk about a couple of topics that I've been eager to talk about over the last couple of weeks. Quite a few juicy ones on here. Before we get started, I would like to remind subscribers that if you make requests in the comments, we will fulfill them. Assuming they are relevant. Stop asking me how big my dick is. We're not talking about it. All right. Well, if you join the drunken streams, you'll probably find out one day.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it'd be good. It'll be my last day on the platform, but it'll be. You'll know I've given up on YouTube when that happens. So the first one I want to talk about, there was obviously a popular story that hit news outlets recently. It was another incident involving our good old friend Jon Jones acting like a fucking bellend again, apparently. Imagine our collective surprise.
Yeah.
I was actually going to leave this one alone and not talk about it because I thought, it's low-hanging fruit. Everyone's talking about it. But one of our subscribers came out last week, and again, that's the reason why I brought that up, asking us to make a video asking if Jon Jones should actually be stripped. So just to provide a little bit of context before I ask you to answer that question, let's be honest, the dickhead probably did what everyone's saying he did. So anyway, UFC sent somebody around to collect a piss sample at 4:00 in the afternoon. They arrived. Jones was drunk apparently at 4 p.m. I've been there. I'm not going to judge him too much for that. Long and short of it, Jones wasn't too thrilled. Said he couldn't go potty, which was the first thing. One thing led to another, and he got a little bit upset. Some silly things were said. I believe the direct quote was, "People that turn up to my house get killed," something to that effect. I don't really think that works as a direct threat, but it wasn't smart. So long and short of it is the testers who came out later, one of them was a female, felt threatened. She fucked off without a sample and then later filed in a police report. So what do you think of all this nonsensical bullshit? And how do you think Johnny should be punished for being, yet again, a very silly boy?
Well, that clearly was dumb. He has no social awareness. And I think that happens once you get to a certain level of fame, maybe, or attention, or the people that are around you act a certain way towards you. It makes you feel entitled in a sense. And I think that is probably something that revolves around him quite a bit. That being said, when it comes to stripping him, I actually would be in favor of stripping him right now, but not even because of that. I am a person who thinks that if you have not defended that title in a year's time, you don't have something scheduled within a year's time, and you're not injured, which I've seen all the stuff on social media. I don't think that man is injured anymore. I do think that he was injured, for sure. I think he was injured. And he had surgery and all that good stuff. I don't think he's injured anymore. And there's nothing booked. So why are you not fighting? Why don't you have anything scheduled? If you're not going to do that, then we're going to have to take the title. You can't parade around with the belt. You have plenty of belts at home, plenty of them. You can't parade around with this belt calling yourself the heavyweight champion and not defending it. I can't say, on one hand, well, Conor never defended the belt and da-da-da-da. But when it comes to Jon Jones, I'm like, well, it's Jon Jones. No, it's not okay, no matter who it is. So I think he should be stripped today. And that drug testing thing is just icing on the cake, because now that's conduct detrimental to the organization, if it is indeed true. But for me, that's out the window. I don't even care about that. I mean, if he did that, obviously, shame on you. You shouldn't be doing that. But secondly, like, and more importantly, you gotta defend the belt or not have the belt. And you have a very worthy person who wants to defend the belt. They want to defend the belt. Tom Aspinall wants to fight right now. Anybody. He will fight anyone. So let that man do that. Give him what he deserves.
Yeah. I'm quite surprised you went down this road. I'm glad we never discussed these things beforehand, because you can see that I'm genuinely surprised. When I heard about this, because you sent me a message about this happening, and because I hadn't heard about it firsthand, it was from you originally. I've been more stunned in my life, I'm going to be honest. Like, I think when you told me about it, I said to you, I would have probably been more surprised if the lady and gentleman turned up, received the sample without incident, and then fucked off. I think I would have been more surprised. That would have been more shocking if it went down without incident.
Yeah.
I think the most annoying aspect of all this is that prior to USADA, which we will talk about in a separate video, it looks like fighters are not going to be punished for refusing to give samples. And that's the issue more so for me. Do I think he should be stripped for saying a potentially threatening thing? I'd say no, because we weren't there. And this is like a very typical he said, she said situation. He is Jon Jones. Maybe it's a case of this woman is trying to take advantage of the situation, get a little something out of it, because clearly something went down. We don't know. I'm not saying she did that either. All I'm saying is we weren't there. For me, like, more of the issue is, like, he refused to give a sample. And, like, what it's kind of demonstrated to me is that the UFC are going to be willing to turn blind eyes to things like that. Before, if you didn't get a sample, I mean, remember what happened to Vanderlei? He got banned for a while for not getting his. Yeah. I do actually think that he deserves to be stripped for everything that he's done, and the fact that this is another incident. But the reason why I don't think he should be stripped is because I think what would happen from it is Tom would then be elevated to champion, and then many people would see him as a plastic champion. Very similar to what happened with Daniel Cormier, who was unfairly, even though he was wronged several times, he wasn't seen as the rightful champion, which was really unfair. So I say that we let him defend against Miocic, and then when he wins and retires, we can then shift the attention to him for ducking Tom. Do you know what I mean? Because we know he's going to beat Miocic and then retire.
When he wins and retires.
When he wins, yeah. Because that's what's going to happen. And then we can shift the focus on him and say, you're the pussy for ducking Tom Aspinall, so that when Tom Aspinall's elevated, he doesn't have that asterisk on his name of, oh, well, they stripped Jones and now Tom's the champion. Because I see Tom as the champion now anyway. And I think a lot of people do, or the champion in place. Let's put it that way. But I think if they strip Jones and they give Tom the belt that way, he'll have an asterisk on his name that he doesn't deserve. Yeah. So I think what we do is we wait, even though Jones deserves to be stripped, and he should be. The reason why I don't want it to happen is because it ruins where Tom Aspinall is, and I don't think he deserves that. And I think Jones will remove that asterisk anyway. After he fights Miocic, I think he retires as undefeated and then fucks off. And then Tom is elevated to champion, and then he has his own legacy from there on out. Yeah. But no, I do think he deserves it. I agree with you on that. He what he did was detrimental to the UFC. He should be stripped. But I just think it does more harm than good at this point.
So, side note question. If we could rewind and go back to last March when John won the belt, he submits Cyril Gane. What do you think should have happened differently at that point?
I don't think they should have set up the fight with Miocic anyway. The thing is, I don't think Miocic was as good as a champion as Miocic was. He didn't deserve to be next, in my opinion. And I think I think by giving Jon Jones what he wanted, it's created this entire clusterfuck. Because Miocic shouldn't have even been in contention. He got knocked out by Ngannou and then hasn't fought in however long. He hadn't fought in 2 years. They've got to stop rewarding those situations. There were active people in the division that deserved it more.
For sure.
Do I blame Miocic for taking it? Of course not. Do I blame Jones for asking for him? A little bit. It's cowardly. But
it was the easy way out. I think if I were the UFC in that moment, I think I would have gone to John and said, okay, we've been in this situation before with George St. Pierre, where he came back, won the belt. And what George did was, we had a little bit of time. And by a little bit of time, I mean a day where he thought on it. And the question was, GSP, are you going to defend this belt against Robert Whittaker? Because that is who's next. And GSP was like, you know what? I got stuff going on. You know what? I'm going to, here's the belt back.
And then he instantly gave it back.
And for everything that everybody says, and of course, everybody knows that I think that Jon Jones is the GOAT. But when we're talking about of people to deal with in business, that's a whole different situation. GSP is far easier to deal with when it comes to business than I think Jon Jones is. And what he's doing right now is affecting so many people. And I know he doesn't see it that way, but it is. And it's unfortunate, and it sucks so much for Tom. And if Tom goes and fights, and let's say that Curtis Blades beats Tom, what's Curtis Blades gonna do? Sit here and wait for you to figure things out? Like, it's so ridiculous, like what's going on right now. And I feel like if we could have gone back there then, I think that they should have gave him, like, we know you're the champ. This is who's next. Are you going to fight them? If you're not, you need to put this belt back down. You got the double champ thing. You did it. So if you're not going to defend this belt, walk away. We're not going to say nothing to nobody. Walk away. But if you are going to defend it, this is who's next, and you got to fight him. That's what I would have done.
That would have been preferable. But he wouldn't have. He would have said, yeah, and then he would have just stretched it out. Probably he would have.
And that's when you strip him. That's where you wouldn't even had to wait this long.
But I like what you're saying about, like, if you don't, whatever the reason is, I think if you don't defend in a that should be the rule. If you don't defend in a 365-day period, you need to be stripped, regardless of the circumstances.